Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2024 World Cup of VGC qualifying draft. I'm Jake Muller, joined by the lovely Sierra Dawn, and we're going to take you through assigning all of our qualifying teams into some groups for some World Cup action.
This will be a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, this is just the qualifying round. The group stage, the individual qualifying group stage can make or break the entire run. So this will be a lot of fun, especially too since rosters have just been looked. First kind of look and opportunity to see some of these teams and kind of put our weight on how we think they're going to perform this year.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We get to see people from many different countries all across the globe get to compete against each other. It's a really cool event that we get to do every year and just celebrate VGC across the different countries. Of course, we have our in-person events, but this gives people a chance to, even form ranks with their own community a little bit tighter and some friendly competition between nations going.
I think it's extra fun too because obviously once you go to a regional, you go to international, you go to worlds, it's sure you might have your testing group, but everything is so individual, right? It's an individual type of esport. But being able to see these countries come together and even just in the tryout periods, being able to see everybody come and work together as a team and being able to see that amplified throughout the group stage, throughout playoffs and everything else, I think is awesome. And especially to having that little bit of pride. There's some groups that are especially known for these big competitions of always being able to work together. And I love the World Cup for that.
Of course. Let's talk a little bit about how the World Cup of VGC works. Of course, we are in the first stage of the tournament, which is the qualifying stage. We have 55 teams joining us. 13 groups of 4 teams each will be created, plus one more group of a third group of teams. And from those 14 groups in total, we will have 24 advance.
Yeah, you're 24 advancing. You see on the group stage it says 32. Of course, there was 8 teams that performed so well last year that they don't have to worry about that qualifying round. So once we get to the group stage, there'll be 32 teams back into groups with the best 2 per group advancing into that playoff stage where the stakes have really risen for that one single elimination bracket for the top 16.
And all of our matches throughout this first qualifying stage and the group stage coming afterwards will be 8v8. So each team will submit a lineup of 8 players. They will play one best of 3 each. And the results from those matches will be used for the overall week score. Your team can win the week by winning 5 or more matches, or you can tie by winning 4 matches each. Within these groups, if you win a match, your team gets 3 points. If you tie, you get 1 point, and then the points total at the end of the qualifying stage will determine who advances.
Really bringing that teamwork aspect together because every match counts for so much going into this. And with as many talented players as there is in the VGC community and how these groups really come together, everyone's going to have to work together to make sure your team can be taken to the top. We have a lot of teams this year, and there is a couple of new teams as well as returning teams to the roster. There are 55 teams in total. Finland, Uruguay, and South Africa are going to be returning, whereas Malta, Qatar, and Ukraine making their first appearance here.
Really exciting. It's really cool to see some of these countries like Malta, a really tiny country over in the Mediterranean, get to form this cool group of VGC players that maybe don't have access to many tournaments in person, but they get to come together, fight for their place in this VGC World Cup stage. And I'm really excited for these smaller countries like Malta, even like Qatar is not a large country in its own right, get to have their chance at the spotlight here in VGC.
Also, super cool logos across the board,
yeah.
But for Qatar, I mean, it took me a second to realize it's a Lunala in the background for the moon as well. I don't know, super awesome stuff. I mean, the logos are always just absolutely amazing. That's one of my favorite parts of being able to have the World Cup return is kind of keep the new logos.
The art goes so hard. Of course, credit to the artist at the bottom of your screen there, but there is some really cool stuff. And of course, we have more than just these 6 teams. We're going to go through all of our teams competing in the World Cup by region, starting with the Americas. North, Central, and South America all represented here on our screen.
An opportunity to look over through all of the logos, but each one of these regions has a couple of these teams we know to be really strong, and even a couple of the teams that maybe if they haven't placed in the playoffs last year, with some top players that especially here in the NA circuit that we know so well.
Of course, I must shout out the logo for my home country, the United States. It even has my favorite Pokemon on it. If I wasn't rooting for my home team already, I have to now. That logo is my favorite. Totally not biased at all. I don't have a whole cube of Victini sitting behind me right now, so we don't have to talk about that.
The Gastrodons glaring at each other cracks me up every single time for it. I'm not gonna lie. Argentina also popping off. I love the Cinderace soccer ball. That's good. And Costa Rica's just looks so chill. Just a little guy. It's just a little guy.
He's living that Pura Vida, huh?
100%. And a couple of these teams, I mean, being able to follow throughout like the regionals, internationals, and stuff, known to be really powerful teams, but maybe just falling a little bit short last year, specifically looking at your bias of the United States there. You know that there's a lot of powerful trainers on the team, but not being able to quite make the cut. Of course, a little bit of redemption arc. Canada, too, just falling a little short last year, despite popping off the year before.
Only one of the top 8 teams from last World Cup was from the Americas, and that was Argentina, who made it all the way to the finals. So the Americas maybe wanting to claim a bit more of those spots here in this event this year.
100%. But it's not just about the Americas, it's World Cup. And we have to be talking about the next part of this. It's going to be our Asia and Oceania teams. And a couple of teams, I mean, the buys here, and I always take a second to focus. These are so good, but
I know.
Shout out to team like Team India, who such strong players across the board there, being able to get the buy go into this one as well.
Yeah, India joined by Germany, China, and Taiwan, already making it into the group stage, having placed in the top 8 last season. Really impressive showing by Asia and Oceania. They were the region with the most teams in that top 8 stage of the tournament. But of course, plenty of teams on this list could very easily join them. I know Singapore has a very lively VGC scene. I know Malaysia has had a bunch of tournaments of their own as well. And so certainly no shortage of teams here that could make a deep run.
Oh, 100%. I feel when we're looking at trainers here that these are trainers that we do specifically get to see at Worlds that are just absolutely popping off. So looking for a couple of those reoccurring runs going on to this year. And then last but not least, we have to be talking about our EU and Africa region here. Looking over the logos, always amazing, always good. But regardless of that, I mean, we just had a regional Europe, an opportunity to see a lot of top trainers really be able to pop off there.
Yeah, Dortmund Regionals was this weekend, finished not too long ago, and Germany was one of the teams with a bye into the group stage this year, having finished top 8, along with Italy, who was a semifinalist last year, and of course our reigning champions, the United Kingdom.
And looking through this, I like how there's a little bias in our casters live chat. Spain with heart. You got to get the shout out there too. But definitely, when we're looking at the history of these teams and these runs, there is a lot to be saying here. So this will be definitely a region to be keeping your eye out on.
The cute little Togepi in Luxembourg. That's adorable.
As soon as I start looking at the logos again, I'm trying to no, we got to talk about the teams. We got to talk about these players. We got to talk about all this great stuff. But, oh man, the logos, no, they're absolutely awesome. But being able to have just that very recent representation of, hey, there's a regional out here, and being able to see countries that popped off. I mean, Italy is absent from here because they were one that was able to get the bye, but we got to see Italy and Ireland in the finals there, with Italy winning out in the end. So it's definitely nice for the qualifying stage to not see a team like Italy being one that you have to contend with. You have to worry about them later down the line.
Of course. Well, let's move on to a quick little recap of those pre-qualified teams. We have kind of mentioned them as we've gone, but just for a great look at them all together, we have our top 8 teams from last year's World Cup. That is everyone that advanced to the single elimination bracket stage and won their first round. And that will be Argentina, Italy, China, Japan, Germany, Taiwan, India, and of course, the 2023 champions, the United Kingdom, all immediately making it into the group stage.
Again, what an impressive run last year from the United Kingdom, especially in the grand finals. You're talking about every match counting, clean 7-0 sweep. So when we're looking at keeping the title home, there's definitely going to be that little bit of pressure there. But not once have we had a repeat champion. So they definitely have their work cut out for them. These teams definitely scale up year after year.
It's also nice for the teams that we will be drawing into the qualifying stage in just a few moments. You don't have to face any of these teams until the groups. So you maybe don't want to face the reigning champions right away, and luckily you won't have to because they're just sitting waiting for who's going to join them right now.
That'll be for down the line, but we have to talk about the qualifiers and everything else. So for this, the teams have been split up into 4 different pots, dependent on how they performed in last year's, etc. So essentially based off of strength. We're going to be taking turns drawing the name of a country as well as then a group for them to be slotted into. And then the reason they're split up into pots as well is that you're not going to have one pot that's 4 teams from pot 1 or 4 teams from pot 4. We're gonna split them up equally here.
Of course, we do again have 14 different groups we're drawing teams into. 13 of those groups will have 1 team from each of those pots, with the 14th group only having from pots 2 through 4. That's why you see 1 fewer team over in pot 1 there. And from that pot, that 14th pot, only 1 team will advance. But otherwise, if you win your group, you will automatically advance, and the second place teams, only 10 of the possible 14 will advance based on records.
Yep, so definitely the extra emphasis on these matches are really going to count. The competition is going to be so stiff coming out on this scene. And up above, wonderful graphics that are made here, but you will be able to see the groups be formed as you go. And for this as well, you got to see all the pots, and we'll be starting with pot 4.
Pot number 4. I'll be drawing the teams out of my Pikachu mug here. After I draw a team, Sierra will draw the group that it will be placed into. So Sierra, are you ready to go? Should we just jump right into it?
I think I'm ready to go. I want to get this started.
Our first country that we will be drawing, again, this is pot number 4. We have Luxembourg. That cute little Togepi logo that we saw earlier. Luxembourg. We prepared some fun little facts about each country, so we're going to be talking about those as we draw our teams. About how about we get that group first, Sierra?
Yeah, I got Group E for Luxembourg. I gotta pull these my fun facts are as well on here. Too many tabs open. There's too many fun facts.
All right, Luxembourg. Did you know, Sierra, is the first country in the world to make all public transportation free to everyone?
Ooh, I love that.
I know.
Yeah.
Imagine having public transportation. I actually can't. That's it's not an American thing we do too often, huh?
I have, because this one caught me off guard. The national dish is pork and beans.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it's like a smoked or cured pork with broad beans and like a creamy sauce. I don't know why, like that just didn't. I didn't expect that, but yeah, there we go.
Well, heading up Team Luxembourg, we have our 2 managers. I'm apologizing in advance. I know I'm going to get some pronunciations wrong. We've got Nicola Zerdum and Quarantine Shepins. Nicola, of course, being in Day 2 at several EU regionals, so off the bat, Luxembourg has at least 1 player who's had some great success on the international stage.
Yeah, though of course this is going to be redemption for them. Unfortunately, team eliminated in qualifiers next year, but only place to go, but up, right?
Of course. All right, next team we are drawing from pot 4 will be New Zealand. New Zealand going over to the Asia-Oceania region for our next team.
Right, and for our group, the New Zealand logo is so cute. So cute.
Mm-hmm.
We got Group J for New Zealand.
Nice. New Zealand was the first country in the world to grant universal suffrage. Voting rights, we love those.
Let's go. I got the town with the longest name in the world,
Ooh.
which there is no... This name takes up like 3 lines of my note column. It's
so you want to go for it?
No, I get through 3 syllables of that. The rough translation is like the place where Tamati, the man with the big knees who slipped, climbed, and swallowed mountains, known as the Land Eater, he played the flute to his loved one. This rough translation. I want to look more into that because that's awesome. But of course, about the team itself, looking over at New Zealand. Being able to have Chris Ramsey on the team, top cuttings, FC regionals, obviously fantastic, and Axel Laher and Guillermo Schilling for managers, eliminated as well in qualifiers last year. So I think a lot of redemption for some of these teams upcoming.
Yeah, I believe every team in pot 4 is a team that either was eliminated in qualifiers or is new to World Cup or returning to World Cup. So
a lot of redemption runs.
Of course. Our next team we will be drawing into pot 4 is Malta. There we go, Malta. Little island in the Mediterranean, if you're unfamiliar. It is a very, very small country. It is their first World Cup, which is really exciting.
which a population of just over 425,000, which is a 16th of the population of London.
Wow.
Correct. But it's also very heavily populated because of that.
Yeah.
Densely populated. And they're going in Group C.
Right. I guess this isn't. Maybe this is an interesting fact. Maybe less fun, but there are no forests, mountains, or rivers in all of Malta. They're
Yeah,
little islands. I guess there's just no space. You couldn't fit a river in when they were building the island, huh?
I don't know what type of design that is, and like Sims or whatnot, but you gotta get those rivers in, right? But for Malta, again, this is a new team to World Cup, so they'll be exciting to see what they have to offer this year, right? Full of possibilities.
It's a great chance for them to come onto the scene and say, hey, I'm willing to bet a lot of people watching this haven't even heard of Malta, like as a country at all. It's like, hey, we're here and we're good at VGC and you're gonna find out, and I'm really excited to see what they can do.
Good opportunity to prove and have us be able to talk a lot about you next year as we pull your name from pod.
There we go. Yeah. All right, next team we've got Paraguay, South American country, going down to LATAM.
That's going to be Group I.
Group I, all right. Fun fact about Paraguay, old-fashioned duels are still legal in Paraguay, but you have to be a registered blood donor in order to participate.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, my fun fact is a lot less fun than that. That was too good. No, the tablecloths out there are famous. They're crafted from a certain cloth that are known for their intricacy. I can't pronounce that. They take over like a year to make. It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
So
Cool.
some people are out there dueling, some are making tablecloths for the whole range.
Well, Team Paraguay will be headed up by Martin Riquelme, who made day 2 at LAIC. So certainly no stranger to success there. We'll be looking to translate that to all of his teammates.
LAIC was stacked too, so yeah.
Yes, true.
Good on that. All right, let's get that next team.
Next team in Group 4 will be Israel, over to the Middle East, the European Africa region.
All right, and for group, we have Group N.
Right, Israel's fun fact. It has the lowest point on Earth at the Dead Sea. The lowest elevation you can get on the face of the Earth.
This is our first time we're repeating a fun fact. I got
the
same one, but I added to it because I wasn't too familiar with the Dead Sea. It's 9.6 times as salty as the ocean, and with the density because of all the salt, like swimming, like more so like floating. So it was actually a space that even though you couldn't have really any like aquatic life, that was kind of renowned for like benefits and stuff, which I think is cool, especially considering the name of Dead Sea.
Yeah, that's true.
And N for the group, by the way, because I flashed through that pretty quickly. We got N for the group. Got to make sure production and all the people working hard.
Of course,
of course. That's my bad.
Team Israel will have 3 managers. They are Dove Aloof, Aminadav Grant, and a name you might all recognize, Enosh Shachar, who is the 2013 U.S. Nationals finalist, but since then has been a mainstay within the VGC community. Someone who has had very deep runs at events. I think is probably one of the best players that has played within the U.S. that hasn't won a major. I know he's made finals at a few regionals and of course at nationals, but never crossed that line. And I think it's pretty fair to say that he's the best to have never done that.
I mean, definitely the team is in good, capable hands then. With 3 managers and someone with that prestige.
Right.
Good stuff.
All right. Next country, we've got South Africa. Staying in that region.
And for the group, that'll hold up for more than half a second, we get Group G for South Africa.
South Africa. South Africa is the only country in the world where 2 Nobel Prize winners lived on the same street.
I got the same vibe.
Desmond Tutu and Nelson Mandela have both lived on the same street.
That was too cool not to include.
I know.
Do you know how many streets there are in the world? That's crazy.
Probably a lot. At least a couple. I don't know. We've got my street, we've got your street. There's probably a couple more streets out there.
A few. Oh, okay, well then I will deliver the information about the team. It's going to be Nico Beats that's going to be manager. Johannes Botma, 2015 South Africa national champion. So despite the fact that this team did not play last year, they are in very capable hands as well. So I'm definitely looking at like the champions finalists, the people that have that experience in these like deep tournament runs to really be able to help everyone else kind of prep and like elevate the team for like these appearances.
Of course. All right, we're moving on. Next team in Group 4 will be Nicaragua. Nicaragua over to Central America.
And for group, I have Group L.
Right. Oh. How about we can do your fun fact first so I don't steal yours this time. Hopefully we don't have the same one again.
All right. I have that it is home to the Latin America's longest festival, San Geronimo, 80-day long celebration.
Do they get 80 days off of work? That would be fun.
I would imagine not. 80 days for a festival? Like 80 minutes at a festival and I'm toast. Like, that's crazy. It's throughout September and October. And yeah, like there's like parades in the streets, colorful costumes. Like that's 80 days.
Fun. Well, it is not my fact. They are nicknamed the Land of Fire and Water because they have a lot of lakes. They have a coastline on 2 oceans, and they have many active volcanoes.
Sounds like a Game of Thrones novel.
Actually, yeah. The Land of Fire and Water. The team Nicaragua will be headed up by Rommel Maltez, their manager, and they are a team that doesn't have too many big names joining them this year, and they were eliminated in qualifiers last year in World Cup. So they are hoping to build up their resume and make a bigger run this year.
No big names means that you have an opportunity to make a big name. Let's go.
Of course.
Okay. All right,
next country. Jumping over to Europe, it is Ukraine. Team Ukraine.
All right. For Ukraine, we have Group H.
Nice. Ukraine, the world's largest producer of sunflower seeds.
Love sunflower seeds.
They are pretty good.
Something else I love, Easter eggs. The original like Easter egg tradition originated there. They're patterned with wax and dye, and then the wax was removed, which would then leave like the pattern and all the colors and stuff.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Love a good
They'll
Easter
be
egg.
led by their manager, Maxim Leader, and on their team, they have Ksenia Shestopolova, who has a top 8 finish in the Hatterene series. So they're no stranger to success in big online tournaments. Hopefully they can use that to, inspire their team here in the World Cup.
And all these new teams, I'm very, very excited for them. So
yeah,
looking forward to that. All right. Next team.
Next team, we have San Marino, a very, very tiny country, much like the Vatican, which is all just one little city-state within Italy. So still staying in Europe here for this team.
San Marino is going to be going to Group N. M. I can't pronounce letter. M, it's on here. M standing for Marino, though. Yeah, perfect.
San Marino is the world's oldest surviving republic. It was founded in the year 301. Very old.
And you're talking about San Marino and how small it is. They have no commercial airport, no military, also no national debt, so congratulations there. But you know what they do have? They have a VGC World Cup team.
Hey!
Let's go.
What else do you need, right?
Exactly. It's going to be headed by Alessio Massi. No big names on the team. Eliminated qualifiers last year. But the same spiel. You got it this time, y'all.
Yeah. Next team in pot number 4 will be Pakistan. Team Pakistan.
And they are going to be going over to Group K. That logo's so good, actually. What?
So, Sierra, are you familiar with, as you might call it, football? We call it soccer down here in the States. Have you heard of it before?
Once or twice.
So roughly 40% of the world's soccer balls are made in one city in Pakistan.
What?
Yeah?
That's actually nuts. Okay.
I know.
All right. I have down here the world's biggest salt mine is over there. Like a natural wonder and apparently like a must-visit place. It's 8 levels and covers 110 kilometers. I don't know that in a freedom miles or whatnot, but that's pretty large.
It's big. That's all I gotta know.
Yeah, 100%. Looking at the team, Saban Kamran, Danish Syed, and Husnul Khan are going to be heading that one up. And then for the players, all living abroad, so all being able to compete out in the other circuits where we get to see these stacked players. So that'll be exciting.
I love that. It's all Pakistani players that may not live within the borders of Pakistan, but they're still, got that Pakistani bond with them. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, something to bring them together. So I absolutely love that. Right,
Jumping
next
on
group,
to our
we're almost done
team.
through all these. For
I know, we only got
four.
a couple left. Next team will be Team Qatar. Team Qatar from the Middle East.
They're super awesome logo, and they are going to go to Group A.
A, just like their
peasy.
logo gets a grade of an A plus.
Honestly.
Really.
That's an S-tier logo, but unfortunately we don't have groups that expand down that far, so I apologize there.
Qatar's airport in Doha, I think their biggest city, was named the world's best airport in 2021 and 2024.
Okay.
Good for them.
My fun fact is more fun, though. Apparently, robots are used for camel racing in Qatar.
Do the robots ride on the camels?
Yeah. Since 2024.
That's
they are
crazy.
Controlled remotely by the camel herders.
I love that.
Right? It's like, there's so many things that I'm like, I have to look this up after. This is crazy. So,
Yeah.
Here's one of those.
Qatar is one of our new teams this year for the World Cup of VGC. Their captain is Hussam Nasrallah, and another team that doesn't have too many big names on it, but like you said, Sierra, a great chance for them to establish some of those names here in this event.
New team, new beginnings. Great stuff.
All right, our next team will be Turkey. Recently, I think they changed that name to Turkey recently, right? I don't know how to pronounce that actually. Probably that's close enough.
Awesome logo. This is not reflective of the logo, but it is reflective of the group. They're going to be going to group number F here. Fun little fact. Turkey. The Turkish coffee was considered so important during the Ottoman era that Turkish women had the legal right to leave their husbands if they didn't supply it for them.
That's really funny. So you're familiar, like Amsterdam is well known for its tulips. They're like a big tulip. The Netherlands is like a big tulip farming country, but they were actually introduced to Amsterdam by the Turks.
Oh, okay.
Fun. We have them to thank for that.
Beautiful. So let's go. All right, we got like 3 teams left.
I think it's 2. I got 2 left in my cup here.
I got 2.
All right. Next team, we've got Honduras. Back to Central America for Team Honduras.
Make sure this always is good. And they're going to go to Group D.
Nice.
Here we go. Honduras. The national bird of Honduras is the scarlet macaw. And they have so many different animal species and birds that they have a lot of different the biological reserves, national parks to protect them all.
That was mine as well. Very, very big biodiverse country. The scarlet macaw is like a really gorgeous bird.
So beautiful. As soon as I saw that fact, I was like, instantly, yep, this has to be it.
Yeah. Team Honduras is headed up by 2 managers, Andres Eduardo and Angel Ortega. Once again, one of those teams that are no huge names you may not recognize, but that certainly does not mean they have, any less of a shot of making it out of this qualifying stage.
100%.
All right.
So I don't think it's going to be any surprise for the last team in the last group here.
If you've been following along, that means Finland is our final team from pot number 4.
And they're going to be going to Group B.
All right. So Finland, they have an annual beer floating event in which participants float down the river drinking beer, and that sounds like a wonderful time, Sierra.
That's so conflicting to my fact, which is they have the highest consumption of milk in the world. Number 1 in milk consumption at around a whopping 1 liter per day.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine just floating down the river with a liter of milk instead.
Beer in one hand, milk in the other. That's
Perfect.
The life.
Perfect. All right,
Team
that's
Finland.
going to be... Oh, yeah.
Well, they do have a couple of players you might recognize. Their managers are, of course, Mikhail Vilyanin and Oliver Eskelin. Oliver being, of course, the 2022 EUIC finalist They also have the player Casper Kallio, who made EUIC Day 2 in 2022 and 2024.
Yeah, my original thought when I saw Finland in pot 4 was there's no shot, right? But not having played last year, this makes a lot more sense. But when you're looking at the caliber of the players on the team, this is definitely one that I think will be able to make it out to qualifiers. So good luck.
I would think maybe one of the favorites of the pot 4 teams.
I think so too. But speaking of the pot 4 teams, that is it for pot 4. So now we'll be moving on into our pot 3. So Jake has an opportunity to swap his papers out. I have an opportunity to put all of my papers back in my cup. And then we keep on chugging along.
Our very first pot number 3 team will be Austria. Probably first alphabetically too. Look at that.
Austria, the place with the world's oldest zoo.
Ooh, fun.
They're going to be going to Group I.
Austria is also the country where postcards were first used.
Aw, that's cute.
Team Austria headed by its captains Shonali Ken and Garo Meyer. And we have 2 players with some great accomplishments. Christian Smiljanek, who got top 32 at EUIC this year. And Kurt Wonka, who made Day 2 at 2023 Worlds.
Ooh. All right. This is where, again, the pots are split up by like the teams, the kilos. So once we get more along, we'll be able to see a couple of more names. But Day 2 at Worlds, top 32 EUIC. Okay.
Right. Next pot number 3 team, we've got Costa Rica.
They are going to go to Group J.
Ooh.
So good. So good.
Costa Rica is a country that generates 98% of its energy from renewable sources.
Ooh.
That's pretty big.
It is. I have, out of the 500,000 species of animal life out there, 900 of them are birds, like unique wildlife. They got a lot of biodiversity. There's a lot more fluff to this paragraph too, and I could not include it all if we wanted to be able to wrap this up since it is about VGC. But that being said, looking at Costa Rica, we got 4 different individuals when we're looking at notables on here. The team is going to be headed by David Rodriguez and Renord Gonzalez, and a lot of names here, Jake.
Yes, David Rodriguez was the 2024 Mexico City champion, also made top 4 at LEIC last year. We have another special event champion, Max Morales, who won 2024 Bogota, joined by Esteban Molina, who is top 8 at LEIC this year, and Leonardo Chinchilla, who is top 16 at LEIC this past season. So Costa Rica, probably the most stacked team we've seen so far in this draft.
Yeah, and when we're even looking at last year's accomplishments, they made it through the qualifiers, but then were eliminated from the group stage then. And making it to the group stage, I mean, obviously you want to make it to playoffs and win, but how many teams get cut in that first qualifying stage? That's crazy. So to make it 2 groups, definitely a good job on them.
All right. Also trying to fight their way out of the qualifying stage from pot 3 will be Team Bolivia. Team Bolivia down from South America.
Going to be Group N. Bolivia here.
Bolivia has one of the highest capital cities in the world, elevation-wise. Up there in La Paz is a very, very high city.
I have in Bolivia, it's considered good luck to purchase miniature versions of things you want. A tradition practiced on the day of Alicita. So that's why I bought this miniature version of what I want, right?
I want full-size Slitherwing, so I'll get little Slitherwing first.
I want a real Slitherwing.
That's funny.
All right, looking over at Bolivia, Sergio Argandonda and Giovanni Aranabar are going to be leading the team. Giovanni getting top 16 last year at Peoria.
So I'm jumping up to Illinois for a regional championship, getting pretty far. Really exciting. They were eliminated in qualifiers last year, but with some leadership from Giovanni, hopefully they can make a bigger push.
Yeah.
Right. Next team, we're staying down in the Americas. We've got Team El Salvador. Team El Salvador.
And they are going to go to Group H. Right there.
El Salvador is one of the biggest surfing hotspots in the world. They have some very good surfing across their coast.
El Salvador's national bird has a special meaning. The bird itself doesn't adapt well to captivity and is more independent, so it symbolizes liberty and unity to Salvadorians.
Nice.
But that was kind of cute.
Right. El Salvador is headed up by Giovanni Polanco, who made it all the way to top 16 in the very first Players' Cup back a few years ago.
Great.
All right. Next team, we're going to have. Oh. Yes, of course.
I was repeating the group name for production. I was a little behind there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. We're going to have Team Vietnam. Team Vietnam.
They'll be going to Group K. That logo is so good.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it is. Fun fact about Vietnam, we talked about salt flats a few countries ago, but Vietnam is home to the world's largest cave. Underground cave.
Spooky.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a Pokemon region with many caves that would be inspired there. For Vietnam, it's going to be headed up by Long Nguyen. As well, when we're looking at some of the accomplished players, Hoang Ho, day 2 at 2023 Portland Regionals. This team getting eliminated in qualifiers last year.
Of course. Next team, we've got Team Jamaica. Team Jamaica, a little Caribbean island nation.
Perfect. And they are going to be going to Group E. Playing these backwards, I can never tell the right way. Right, little fun fact about Jamaica. They have the largest butterfly species in the Western Hemisphere.
They're also the top consumer of cranberries per capita in the world. Love cranberries down in Jamaica.
Cranberries are good, so yeah, perfect. Looking at this team is going to be led by Von Borland and Abdul Bari. And when we're looking at players, definitely some that we get to recognize. Joshua Lorsey, 2024 LASE top 8, super accomplished player that we have over here. And Reese Johnson as well, day 2, literally just this weekend at Dortmund.
Yeah, playing today in Dortmund. That's exciting. Some great names over there from Jamaica. Of course, also coming out of pot number 3, our next team will be Team Panama. Team Panama.
Panama. They have a Cafe Coca-Cola, only one in the world permitted to have the name. And they are going to go over to Group M.
I love that was your fun fact, because mine is that Panama is the first country outside the US where Coca-Cola was sold.
We're on like the same wavelengths, right? Perfect. Panama for M. Looking at the team itself. It's going to be Felipe Molino and Alberto Rios, with Felipe making day 2 at 2024 Charlotte.
Exciting. I love when players get to travel outside their region and then see success in other regions as well. Okay, just a reminder, we're pretty good down here too.
We're cool. We get to see what everyone's got from all around the world.
Yeah. All right, next pot 3 team, we've got Morocco. Jumping over to Africa for Team Morocco.
And for Morocco, where the most popular drink is a tea of spearmint leaves, green tea, and sugar, they are going to go to Group G. Or geez, that sounds delicious.
They also have some of the largest film sets outside of Hollywood in the world. They're a very popular filming location. They'll be headed up by, it's another 3-manager team. Amin Lena, Omar Sabayu, and Silman Ziyech. And Amin being a player that has made day 2 at several EU regionals, so able to travel over to Europe and get some points on the board for Morocco.
3 managers, capable hands over there.
All right, next team, we've got Team Sweden. Team Sweden.
Team Sweden. Over to Group A.
Ooh, Group A. So Sweden is very good at recycling. They recycle 99% of their locally produced waste, and they even import some trash from Norway to recycle as well.
What? What? That's actually massively cool.
Yeah.
All right. For Sweden, they're going to be headed up by David Degerman and Pontus Westerlund. I apologize. I feel like I got that last name wrong there. And then Omar Lind top cut at Dortmund literally today. I love that we get these Dortmund results in too.
Yeah.
Like, people being able to be like, yeah, I'm on the World Cup team. And also, look, I just got top cut. I just got day 2. I just performed at Dortmund.
So if you're wondering whether or not you should have drafted me, here's why.
Yeah.
All right, our next team. We're going to stay in Europe for this one. We've got Team Belgium. Team Belgium.
And Team Belgium is going to find their way over to Group L.
So Belgium, fun fact, has more comic strip artists per square mile than any other country. They love writing comics over in Belgium.
A lot of comics go with the chocolate. Produces over 220,000 tons of chocolate every year. I know they're known for their chocolate, but that's a lot of chocolate.
Yeah.
For Belgium, it's going to be Simon van de Poort and Nick Eunice. Top 16 at Barcelona for Simon. And then Christopher Willems. Day 2 at Lille, 24.
Exciting. All right, next team from pot number 3 will be Team Egypt. Team Egypt.
For Team Egypt, they will be going over to Group C.
Nice. Group C for Team Egypt. Egypt has one of the lowest average rainfalls of any country. They see less than 1 inch of rainfall every year. That is very dry.
I mean, yeah, with that amount of rain, and without the river, it would all of Egypt would only be desert.
Yeah.
That's simply it. So crazy. Easy dry. Or a fun fact, we're like aligned.
Nice.
Looking over at Team Egypt, Kareem Awad, Amin Abdel Modine, and Ina, I think the last name's cut off here.
Placencia.
There.
There we go.
Being able to triple manager the team. Whereas for the team roster itself, no big names on the roster, eliminated in qualifiers last year.
Looking to make their first big push into the group stage in this year's World Cup. Of course, also from pot 3 looking to make it into the group stage will be Team Uruguay. Team Uruguay down in South America.
They are going to be going to Group D. That logo, by the way. Why is the Miltank so angry?
And why is it blue? Oh no, that's Shiny Miltank. Shiny Miltank is blue. Never mind. I answered my own question.
It's just so angry.
Well, it might be angry because Uruguay has the longest national anthem in the world, and it has to hear the national anthem much longer than any of the other Pokemon logos, huh?
Did you get how long the national anthem is?
I think it said like 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah.
Wow, okay. My fun fact is that Uruguay means River of Painted Birds, which I think is just very wholesome and cute.
Fun. Uruguay will be headed up by 2 managers, Gonzalo Saintas and Agustin Marinucci. Agustin was the finalist at 2024 Buenos Aires, which is exciting. And they also have a player who made top 8 at 2024 Lima in Walter Pandiani.
Eliminating qualifiers last year, but top 8 and a finalist very recently. Definitely can improve off of that one.
Certainly a lot of potential in Uruguay, but of course also in the qualifying stage from Group 3, pot 3 will be Norway, Team Norway.
Norway. I pulled 2 at once. There's only 2 in there, and I grabbed both at once. Going to be to Group B.
So Norway, a little fun fact there, they're the most accomplished Winter Olympics country. So they have done very well on the international stage in the Olympics. Who's to say that in this veritable Olympics of VGC, they might do the same?
They just have to add VGC to the Olympic roster.
Do you think VGC would be a winter or a summer Olympic sport?
Ooh, the World Championships in summer, but we have more events over winter. That one's tough.
Yeah.
That one's tough. Split it up. VGC's one TCG together. But
there we go.
For Norway, gonna be headed up by Brad Savo and Ola Peterson Norby. Okay, this is exciting. Jens Arn, Atkinson, Makinen. You got the AE thing. I can't pronounce that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. But 2018 OCIC finalist who retired to play TCG, but is actually now returned to VGC, which is super exciting.
Wow. Also joined by Steinar Nikolaisen, who has made EUIC Day 2 twice in VGC. So pretty good roster there. Unfortunately, last year they were eliminated in qualifiers, but hoping to, with the return of Jens, make a further run this year. So I do believe we just have one country remaining in pot number 3. So if you are following at home, it will be Malaysia. Team Malaysia in what will be?
Group F.
Yeah. So Malaysia is home to the biggest roundabout in the world. The biggest traffic rotary roundabout. Its diameter is 3.5 kilometers. That is huge.
Wow, I would not want to drive around that roundabout on a driving test. For sure. Group F for them. Looking at the team here.
They will be headed up by Ismat Myran and Azri Firman. Some players on this team with some great accomplishments in the last year. We have the 2024 Malaysia national champion Gary Ng. And he is joined by both of the top 4 players from that event as well, Abied Arifin and Brandon Chia.
The champion top 4 and top 4. The team was eliminated in qualifiers last year. I don't foresee that happening again, in all honesty. But
exactly.
That is how our groups are looking now after pot 4 and pot 3 have been taken. Now we get to re-put the names back in and get to pot 2.
And we're reaching some of the teams that have made it through qualifiers pretty consistently. A lot of these teams in pot number 2 did make it to the group stage last year and have a lot of players that you'll probably recognize on these teams. But our first team we're going to pull out of pot number 2 is going to be Chile, Team Chile.
All right. Country with the world's largest swimming pool, by the way, length of 20 Olympic-sized swimming pools.
Wow.
Why they need a swimming pool so big, I couldn't tell you. They'll be going to Group H.
Chile also is home to, I think, the driest desert on the country and on the planet, the Atacama Desert. And scientists have used that desert to simulate conditions on Mars for testing rovers.
Oh, that's okay. So Chile's going to be managed by Javier and Camilo Lebrona. When we're looking at the players, this is where the lists start getting to be like, okay, we're just listing, but for good reason. Diego Pereira, world's top 8. Esteban Valdebenito, Day 2, 2023 World. Matias Diaz, 2023 Lima Special Champ. And Javier Ain, Day 2, 2024 EUIC. The team was eliminated in groups last year, so did make it past qualifiers. And yeah, a lot of big names on the team this year.
Yeah, right off the bat, a team with a lot of players with international success. Will be really cool to see if they can progress into groups and even possibly further this year. Moving on to our next team from pot number 2 will be Team Mexico. Team Mexico.
And Team Mexico is going to be going to Group N. And with that, with Group N having one less team than the others due to an uneven amount, that's going to be Group N that is completed now.
Mexico is the largest exporter of beer in the world, over 1/3 of the world's export of beers.
It's home to the world's most volcanoes and its smallest one as well. The smallest one is only 43 feet tall. Also inactive. It's just a little camera up,
Exactly. They will be headed up by their 2 managers, Christian Ramirez and Arath Vera. Christian Ramirez made Day 2 at 2016 Worlds, so been a player that has had some success for many, many years now. Also joined by Jose Vasquez, who made top 8 at Portland 2024, and Alexander Canseco, who made top 4 at the 2024 Puerto Rico special event.
Another team eliminated in groups last year. That'll be the reoccurring theme for pot number 2 here.
All right. Group number 2, pot number 2. Next team will be Team Ecuador. Team Ecuador.
Team Ecuador. Got a cat here trying to steal the papers. Is going to go to Group K.
Ecuador. They're the first country to grant constitutional rights to nature. It's like the forests and trees are all protected by nature, or protected by law.
It makes sense because they also is trees that move on their protected sites. They have trees that can kind of walk because they sprout new roots every year, so they kind of move 20 meters away from where they were.
That's so cool.
So yeah, they had to get them right. All right, looking over at the team for Team Ecuador. Yamid Rodriguez and Gabriel Barrios are going to be managing the team with 2023 Worlds Day 2 by Galo Orbia. Eliminated in groups last year.
All right, our next team will be just next door. I believe these two countries border each other. We've got Colombia, Team Colombia.
Don't make me do a geography lesson live on air. All right. For Team Colombia, they're going to be going to Group L.
Oh my god, look at that logo. Look at the Pikachu. That's adorable. The
hat.
hat and the flag cape. Oh, that's great. Colombia is the country with the most endemic animal species. So the most species that can only be found within that country. Pretty cool.
Which would put it at second most biodiverse country in the world, only after Brazil.
Nice. They will be headed up by their two captains, Christian Rodriguez and David Davila, and one of their notable players, one Camilo Restrepo, is the 2023 Bogota champion.
There's a couple of teams in this spot that were eliminated in qualifiers last year, Colombia being one of them, but with strength of team still here, so opportunity to improve off of that.
All right, our next team from pot number 2 will be Team Puerto Rico. Team Puerto Rico.
Right, and they are going to be going over to Group J.
Group J, the best letter, if you ask me.
Bias.
You're just salty there's no Group S.
You'd be like that.
Puerto Rico has the only tropical rainforest within the U.S. National Forest System. Some tropical rainforest, yeah.
Okay. So Puerto Rico managers Alex Xavier Alvarez and Kenneth Tirado. Kenneth being your 2024 Puerto Rico champion, and then Sergio Nica, day 2 at 2024 Worlds. So this was eliminated in group team. But yeah, they can do better. They have the cutest logo on their side. So
Oh, that Froakie is living
the
his best life.
Sky's the limit for this team.
All right, our next pot 2 team will be from Hong Kong, Team Hong Kong.
And for Team Hong Kong, they are going to go over to Group C.
So Hong Kong has the world's longest escalator. It runs for over half a mile.
Checks
I wonder
out.
how long it takes to ride.
I'm not getting caught. I couldn't. I'm too scared of heights. They also have the highest number of skyscrapers in the world. Over 7,000 buildings with over 14 floors. Just
oh, wow.
Crazy.
Nice.
As for their team, also very stacked, frankly.
Yes. They are headed up by the captain, Orke Yin and Lung Pak Hei. Orke Yin was the 2016 national champion, another team with some experience, which is really cool. And of course, joined by Wayne Yu, who's the 2023 national champion, and Yuan Nga Hin, who is the 2023 national finalist. So some past and recent success here. Really cool combination. They were eliminated in groups last year, so they did make it out of qualifying. But with that, experience could go even further.
Yeah, that's a crazy list of players to have on the team. So keeping my eye on them for sure.
All right, next team out of pot number 2 will be Team Ireland. Team Ireland.
Team Ireland. Group B. Joining Norway and Finland.
So Ireland, we have to thank for Halloween. Halloween originated in Ireland.
For Ireland, my fun fact, not something that you'd be able to search up, but it is fact. All the Ireland VGC players are a lot of fun to karaoke with. They're awesome at karaoke and they're a lot of fun to karaoke with. So always look forward to that at the international events.
That's great.
Her managers, you have Shane Ellen, Maddie Morgan, and Brian Collins. If Maddie's a familiar name, if he wasn't already, he just was the finalist today in Dortmund. Brian Collins is on the team as well. Several top cuts here in the NA circuit. And Tom Towling, top 8 seniors 2022 Worlds.
I think Maddie also one of the best performing Western players at Worlds back in Yokohama, so no shortage of talent on that team as well. They did make it to groups last year, and I think is probably a favorite to make it again, but it's going to be cool to see how that group of players navigates through the qualifiers this year. Also trying to navigate through qualifiers from pot number 2, we've got our next team, Venezuela. Team Venezuela.
And for Venezuela, they are going to be going to Group D.
Ooh, Group D. They're the lightning capital of the world. Lake Maracaibo has a storm over it that has lightning for most of the year. It's the one spot that gets the most lightning on the planet.
Cool. Great. For Venezuela, they're going to be headed up by Luis Roquet and Joshua Ferreira. With Luis, finalist 2023 Buenos Aires. This team was eliminated in the qualifiers last year. So a little bit to prove, but recent finalist. Yeah, good.
I think they got a good shot.
Yeah.
Next team, we've got Team Greece. Team Greece.
And for Team Greece, they're going to be joining Group E.
So the number of tourists that visit Greece every year is about triple their population. They have much, much more tourists visiting than people that live in Greece.
Popular tourist destination. All
Yes.
right. We also get people from Greece traveling about, as well as being able to pop off in Pokemon VG for managers, Casa Dynamos, Pachalas, Tormentis, and my sheet cuts off right here, but Lazaros, and I don't get a last name on that one, I apologize. But shout out to Costa, obviously very skilled caster of day 2 and
Exciting. Another team that was eliminated in qualifiers last year, so hoping to go one further, if not even further this year, but trying to fight their way into the group stage. Our very next team will be Team Portugal. Team Portugal.
For Team Portugal, they are going to be joining Group I. Portugal, the New Year tradition calls for 12 raisins. When the clock strikes 12, those awake eat 12 raisins, one for each time of the clock, which is one for every month to come. And there's other cultures that do that too, with instead of raisins, it's grapes, which is cool. So,
well, what is a raisin if not just an old grape?
It's true. But I think this exact definition is old grape.
They also have the world's oldest bookstore, established in 1732.
Hey. For Portugal, the team itself, you have Edu, world champion. The accomplishment, I think, kind of states for itself. I don't think we have to repeat that one. Ruben Tyra as well, going to be managing the team. Miguel Piquet on the team, top 8 2024 Lil. So when you have a world champion on your team, someone who's definitely been able to pop off throughout the season as well, not just kind of like a one-hit wonder type thing, you know that there's going to be some good success for the team. Eliminated in groups last year, so did make it through the qualifiers.
Hoping to go one further, of course, with the leadership of Eduardo, a fantastic player. But of course, also hoping to go further than this qualifying stage. We've got Team Denmark. Team Denmark.
Denmark, they are going to be joining Group G.
So Denmark is the birthplace of Legos. If you've ever played with Legos, you can thank Denmark for that.
My little fun fact for Denmark is the Danish language apparently has no word for please, or like not a word that's like a direct translation, which I didn't get enough time to look up what they used then for the word, but
They don't ask, they just demand.
I'm sure that there's like some way. There's just not like a direct word, right?
Well, I mean, they're going to be demanding a spot in the group stage as well with this team. They've got
Oh, that transition.
They are managed by Benjamin Joachimsen. Hopefully that was right. And Casper Whistledorf. But they have some fantastic players. The Hodge Nielsen brothers, who we're familiar with. Nicolaj has a 2023 World's Top 8 finish, and Frederick has top cut several European regionals. And of course, Lucas Mester also joining them, who made day 2 this weekend in Dortmund.
Team last year eliminated in group stage, so again, making it past qualifiers, great. Looking to take it one step further, but Nielsen brothers on the team, that's a pretty stacked squad.
Yeah. Next team, we have Team Philippines. Team Philippines.
Right. And for them, we're running out of names here. Oh my goodness, we're flying through this. They are going to be going to Group A.
All right, the Philippines. The largest and most expensive pearl in the world was found in the Philippines.
As for their team, their fun facts about the team is this team is stacked. Frankly.
Yes,
this is stacked.
quite.
So for managers, we have Enrico Cometan, Arben Timanning, and Ryan Red. And for players, when you have notables, we have Paul Chua, 2023 UIC, 6-time regional champion, just got second a couple weekends back, kind of crazy. Jeremy De Los Santos, 2023 national finalist, and then Arben Timanning, 2024 Charlotte top 4. So they got eliminated in the qualifiers last year, which I'd have to re-look at this roster, but for a roster to be like this and eliminated in qualifiers is crazy. So I do not foresee that happening again.
Me neither. This is a crazy stacked team, just with, you know, those 3 players, and of course the rest of the roster as well. But I think any team with Paul Chua on it is a team to be heavily respected.
Yeah, a player that I'm sure could have played for Philippines or US, but like the amount of championships that he has, being able to bring that to Team Philippines is just nuts. So it'll be good for the team for sure. And just talk about that logo, because that is a cool logo.
Oh yeah.
that is a good one.
We only got 2 teams left from pot number 2. Our second to last draw for pot 2 will be Team Switzerland. Team Switzerland.
Right. And for that, we are going to have them in Group M.
So Switzerland has the world's longest railway tunnel. It runs for over 35 miles under the Alps.
Is it railway? Oh, I think my fun fact is similar to yours. I have the longest tunnel. I didn't have that it was a railway tunnel. So I was like, wait, do they have both? And then I kind of realized it was both. But that's, you know what? That's fine. Other fun fact about the team, very good. Damo Lotnik and Samuel Santelli are going to be leading the team as managers. On the team, you have Oscar Principal, top 8 in 2023 NASC seniors, as well as Stefan Mott Pengy, 2022 Indianapolis champion, someone who's played in a lot in these NA events, obviously, and has been able to be quite successful in a lot of them.
Of course, I think Team Switzerland is one that might be a little bit overlooked. It was eliminated in qualifiers last year, so they weren't able to make it to that group stage, but I think they do have a really good shot, especially with the leadership of those 2 players and Stefan Mott, who is one of the players not on the manager list there. But one final team from pot number 2, we have the Dominican Republic. Team Dominican Republic.
And with the meeting final team, I don't have to move the papers around. We can just grab it. And that is going to be group number F for our final team here in pot 2.
Dominican Republic is home to the first cathedral, first hospital, and the first university in the Americas.
Okay. Opportunity to be one of the first, if not the first, to try and qualify on through. Just saying, they qualified. This is a team that did manage to qualify last year. They were eliminated in the group stage. Juan Moses Perez and Luis Franjul are going to be leading the team, with Jonathan Zuniga getting top 16 2024 Indianapolis Regional.
Jonathan is representing the Dominican Republic, but he actually lives in my city, and I've had to play against him at locals, and he's very tough. So Dominican Republic will be in great hands. He's a great player, and of course, with the leadership from those two players and their managers as well. And with that, Zero, we're done with pot 2. We only have one pot of teams left, and it is our 1 seeds in each group.
It's exciting stuff. So getting confirmation that everything is right and in order before we get along with our final stage here. If anyone's paying attention to the graphics, they were getting fiddled with just a little bit, but make sure we're good. But yeah, so far, like these teams, there's already a couple teams that look quite difficult, and what's coming out of here, out of pot 1, has the opportunity to make a couple of these groups absolutely broken.
Yeah. What do you think, just looking at what we have so far, what's one of the toughest groups, do you think?
I'm looking at Group B.
I
have to like like that is the first one I look at, and I'm just like, oh brother.
Like the 4 seed being Finland, like that. Of course, Finland didn't play last year, which is why they're seeded low, but like that is a really tough group to be in right off the bat.
I think like whatever group the Finland was going to be in was already just kind of going to scale the power level, but the fact that you have like Norway and then Ireland that just got finals in Dortmund, that kind of speaks for itself. But we got the green light that we're good to go ahead with pot number 1 to be finishing off these groups.
Just as a reminder, Group N will not have a team from pot 1. Group N has been set. We'll have 13 pot 1 teams we're going to be drawing right now. The first of which will be Team Peru. Team Peru.
And for Peru, gotta make sure. Really give this a good shake now. They are going to be going to Group K. Group K for Team Peru.
So did you know, Sierra, that the potato is originally from Peru? They grow over 3,000 varieties there, and proud Peruvians use a phrase that translates to, I'm more Peruvian than the potato.
Thank you, Peru. I love potatoes. I have down that Asian Peruvians, they used to be able to talk with knots, or like that's how they had like conversion systems for stuff. So you could do like dates and times and stuff with like this intricate knot system. I have to look into that because I do not understand it, but I think that's pretty cool. Looking over at Team Peru, it says Sebastian Bisbal. I already saw the last name, but I started tripping myself up. Sebastian Solari are going to be managing the team. Dorian Quinones, 6-time special event champion, also has been able to play internationally and has gotten really good success there. There's a lot on this team, actually. This is where we start really having the list off.
Of course. They're joined by Sebastian Bisbal, one of the managers, who made top 16 at Worlds in 2017. Remember, 2017 Worlds was a huge turnout from the Latin America scene, so really cool to see Sebastian having that success there as well. And of course, trying to lead Peru to a finish past the group stage where they made last year. Our next team from pot number 1 will be Indonesia. Team Indonesia.
That team going to be going over to Group M.
So Indonesia is made up of over 17,500 islands. Lots of islands there, the world's biggest archipelago.
It was the first Southeast Asian country to qualify for the FIFA World Cup in 1938, despite the fact that they then lost 0-6 to Hungary in the first round. We don't have to talk about that part.
Well, certainly they'll have a better fate in this World Cup than that one, huh?
Hopefully. Looking over at the team, I mean, it's a team that made it to the group stage last year, gonna be headed up here by Gunter Provovo and Muhammad Hafiz. I apologize for some of these names, guys. I really am trying. With Gunter getting 2018 Melbourne Regional Champion, And then Reynaldo Canala of top 4, 2022 Perth.
Exciting. Good luck to Team Indonesia. Of course, our next team coming out of pot number 1 will be right next door, Team Thailand. Team Thailand.
Right. For Thailand, home to roughly 1 out of every 10 animals and birds in the world. Very diverse, very populous.
I had that too.
They are going to be going to Group G.
All right, Team Thailand will be headed up by 2 captains, Narawich Nayana and Goon Sathorn. They have on their team Chayawat Triwichacha Nantaro is a username you might recognize. 2-time national champion and a player that I know has had some great success online as well. Also on the team, Panyawut Noijan, 2023 national champion, and their captain Narawich is a 2-time national finalist.
And once we start getting to these teams as well, these are teams that definitely got to see a lot from. This is a team that made it to top 16 last year, eliminated by Argentina. And then the year before that, it was actually a winning team, won the 2022 World Cup. So we haven't had a repeat winner yet. So that's going to be something that I'm definitely looking forward to this year, is if we can for the first time.
That's awesome. I didn't realize Thailand won. That's like a really cool accomplishment for a country that I think hasn't had too much success internationally. Beyond, I think Nantaro has had some decent Worlds finishes, but really exciting for Team Thailand. Hopefully they can replicate that success, make it into that playoff stage once again. But our very next team, a team I'm quite familiar with, will be Team United States, Team USA. My home country, of course, rooting for them.
Team USA, where 100 acres of pizza are served in the US every day.
And we're home to the world's most tornadoes. So fun.
I also have that the USA only shared land borders with 2 countries, which the one with Canada is the largest one in the world. And I have down here in my little notes, also likes to share the NA title at Worlds with our Canadian Worlds placements after we outplaced the US. Get that little Canada pride in there. But the US are going to be going to Group F, and this team, obviously with us 2 following the NA circuit most closely, very, very familiar with these players. The management this year is going to be Justin Burns, Jeremy Otena, and Joseph Igarte. And I like how this list went so long. At some point, they just said, you probably know a lot about these ...
Yeah. Some other names on the team you'll probably recognize: Toller Webb, Aaron Traylor, Gavin Michaels, Justin Tang, Brady Smith, Z Costiola, Joe Ugarte. Like, I think the US is probably one of the more stacked teams as well, although they were eliminated in top 16 last year by Japan, so possibly one of the more difficult top 16 matches, like US versus Japan, I think could be like a finals top 4 worthy match. So tough draw for those teams, but I'm rooting for my hometown boys to go a little bit further this season, huh?
Yeah, reminder, once we're at the playoff stage, it is single elimination bracket.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a tough draw for both these groups, and Japan definitely super, super strong. So of course, with this team looking to make it further next year, because they definitely have the prestige behind them.
All right, next team from pot number 1 will be Team Australia. Team Australia.
Team Australia, they're going to be going over to Group E.
So Australia is home to the world's longest fence. It is over 5,600 kilometers long.
I saw that, and I had a feeling you'd put it down as your fun fact. So, it's the only continent in the world without an active volcano.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, their team is headed up by manager Kiran Singh. Also playing on the team, he was the 2024 Melbourne Regional Champion. Some other players you might recognize: Alistair Sandover has won 3 different regional championships. Henry Rich was the 2022 Brisbane champion, and Lewis Tan was the 2019 Worlds finalist in the seniors division.
Henry Rich also top 8 with Overquill.
Oh yeah.
Recently, crazy. So yeah, super stacked team coming on over here.
Next team from pot number 1 will be France. Team France.
8. Where putting a baguette upside down is an unlucky superstition.
It's also the most visited country in the world, the country with the most tourists entering.
All right, they're going to be going over to Group L to be rounding out that group.
Their team will be headed up by the combination of Hippolyte Bernard and Anthony Liuzzo. Hippolyte being a top 16 finisher today in Dortmund, but also has many, many finishes under his belt. Anthony, the other captain, made top cut at 2023 Worlds, and they're joined by Adam Cherfawi, who made 2024 Worlds top 32.
Last year eliminated top 16 by Taiwan. Top 16 today in Dortmund. Congratulations there. So,
yeah,
making good things. Man, the playoff stage is brutal.
I know. Honestly, we're at the point where all of these teams are looking real tough. The next team we have drawn into the qualifiers is Netherlands. Team Netherlands.
Right. For Team Netherlands, they are going to be going over to Group C.
The Netherlands has been named the safest country for cycling. They have a lot of bicycle infrastructure over there.
That's what I have too. They should have had a Cyclizar as their logo.
Oh yeah, missed opportunity there.
I know. Project.
Of course, their captain this year for the World Cup is Bas van der Heijden. He has made day 2 at several European regionals, also joined by Jorijn Rijnmakers, 2024 EUIC top 4, as well as 4 of their players on the team making day 2 today in Dortmund.
Congratulations to them. Okay, this is a team that last year eliminated in groups. Multiple people making a conversion and getting day 2 at Dortmund. That's good stuff. So,
yeah,
congratulations to them.
Next team we are drawing from pot number 1 is Team South Korea. Team South Korea.
Right. Or I have here about kimchi.
Ooh.
They're going to be going to Group J over here, but essentially they had to ferment cabbage to survive before, and then now it's so deeply rooted in history that it's just a staple of the cuisine.
Oh, wow.
Also delicious.
Yeah, very. Also, fun fact, half of Koreans have one of 3 different last names. There's a lot of repeat last names over in South Korea.
Looking at this team, eliminated in top 16 by the eventual winners last year, the United Kingdom. It's going to be managed by Ngyeon Na, Unseo Kang, and Yong Seo Lee. And we got multiple national champions on this team, and 2018 senior world champion.
Of course, Ju Young Hong, the 2018 senior champion, also the 2024 national champion, so aging up to masters and immediately making a big impact. Won Sok Jung is the 2-time national champion, Hyung Woo Shin, the 2019 national champion, and Won Sok Jang, who's a name that a lot of players are familiar with, the Korean mainstay for the past decade, the 2012 national champion. Still around and having some great success, which is really cool. Very next team. I know, we're getting real close. Our next team is Team Canada. Team Canada.
Let's go, Team Canada. Not biased at all. All right, Team Canada is going to be going over to Group D.
My fun fact about Canada is that it sucks and everyone who lives there is terrible.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding.
I hope we knock you out in playoffs. That's crazy.
Canada has the longest coastline of any country. That's funny.
I have down here, because this one always catches people off guard. Our dollar coin has a loon on it, so it's called a loonie. And then our $2 coin, because it's $2 instead of 1, is called a toonie. It's $2, so it's a loony and a toonie.
That's so cool. All right, Team Canada. Your captain will be Jean-Marc Hebert. Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. Jean-Marc, Sapphire Lai, and Ryan Lizzetto, all of which have some great success on their own. But they're joined on the team by Rafael Bagara, who's the 2015 U.S. national finalist, Kylan Van Steveren, who made top 4 at Worlds in 2022 in the seniors division, and Navjeet Joshi, who is the 2022 World Cup MVP.
Kylan and Navjeet also made top cut at Worlds this year. Navjeet made to top, I believe. And yeah, Canada had 3 representatives in the Top Cut at Worlds, which was very impressive. So
awesome.
I mean, Team Canada scaling up. They were eliminated top 16 last year, but did get 2nd place in 2022, losing out to Thailand in the end. So
well, that's awesome. Team Canada looking to go one further than that 2022 result. But of course, talking about prior champions, we have Team Spain. Team Spain is our next Pot 1 team.
Right, and for Spain, they'll be going on into Group H.
So Spain is home to a cathedral called Sagrada Familia, whose construction began in the 1800s and is set to finally finish in 2026. It's been 140 years of construction.
My fun fact is more fun. They have a Spanish festival called La Tomatina, where they throw tomatoes at each other, which is the biggest food fight in the world. And it originated back in like the 1940s as like a food fight between friends, and now it's a yearly thing. Last Wednesday of August every year.
That's so fun.
Pictures are crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure. Their team is managed by Guillermo Castilla and Raul Campoy. Guillermo Castilla, of course, the 2022 Worlds finalist. They're joined by Luca Paz, who won 2023 Liverpool Regionals, Javier Señorena, who is the finalist at 2017 LAIC, Victor Medina, who's top cut several international championships, and Carlos Cabal, who is top 32 at 2024 Worlds.
Won in 2021 for the World Cup, though they're eliminated top 16 last year by China. So opportunity to one step. I'd have to relook at the roster, but this roster for this year is absolutely stacked. So they definitely should be able to at least make it one step further, depending on who they go up against.
Yeah, Spain has classically been one of the best countries at VGC, so it's going to be cool to see how they do at this tournament. All right, our next, but we have 3 more, Sierra. We're getting real close. Our third to last draw from pot number 1 is Team Poland. Team Poland.
Right. For Team Poland, they are going to go to Group I.
So, in Poland, every name is associated with a specific date of the year, and everyone with that name is celebrated on that day.
Cool.
That's kind of cool.
Have that Europe's oldest restaurant is there, opened back in 1275, and you can still get a meal there today, at least at the time at which I got the fun fact thing was written. So
all right, Poland will be captained by Bartosz Eichert and Michael Dzierżynski. They have on their team Diana Bros, who is the 2016 Madison Regional Champion, Simon Wodat, who made Day 2 at 2022 Worlds, Fiona Simkowitz, who made top 4 at 2023 Fort Wayne Regionals, and Philip Idzak, who is 2022 Liverpool Regionals semifinalist.
this team last year was eliminated in groups, but champion, Day 2, top 4. I don't think that should be an issue for them this year.
A lot of fantastic players on Team Poland, of course. Only 2 teams left from pot 1. Sierra, right hand or left hand? I got them both.
Oh, wow. Let's say left hand.
Left hand.
Whatever that means to you. Because for me, it's opposite.
Right, yeah. It might have been right in the mirror, but whatever. Who cares? We got Team Brazil. Team Brazil.
All right, give this a good shake because there's only 2 left. And Team Brazil is going to go to Group A.
All right, Brazil is the highest population of Japanese people outside of Japan. Pretty big concentration. Kind of cool.
Right. I have that Brazil has won the FIFA World Cup finals 5 times, more than any other nation, and have produced some of the world's best football players, including Pelé, Ronaldinho, and Neymar. And I have put down here as a note, also some of the best VG players. Considering, Agati, who had just won Jonesville and is already super accomplished.
Of course, they are captained by Hugo Nascimento and Rogerio Cattell, but they do have Gabriel Agati on their team, a very fantastic player who did just win Joinville Regionals. They have 2 more players that made top 8 at Joinville, Joao Goncalves and Victor Vieira. They're joined by the 2024 LAIC finalist, Thiago Latanzi, and Jan Sim, who made top 4 at NAIC this year.
Eliminated in groups. Don't think that should be an issue. I know it's 8v8, but there are some strong players. And now we just have one more one more team going into what we said prior to pot 1 was kind of the group of death, the terrifying one to be left to last.
And I don't really think it gets better with this. Our final team is Team Singapore. Team Singapore. They've been one of the most active like Southeast Asian countries in VGC for as long as I can remember.
That's
of course, Group B.
that is a tough group. That is a tough group. That is for sure. My little fun fact is Formula One held its first ever night race there in 2008. So
they were also originally part of Malaysia after independence from the UK, but then Malaysia rejected them, so they became their own little city-state, and have done very well since then.
All right. Looking at the team itself. Oh my god, my cat's... You take us through this one real fast.
The team is captained by Melvin Ke, who is a 2-time national champion, and of course has done very, very well at international tournaments, both at the World Championships and at various international championships. I know I've seen him way up in those top cut stages of those tournaments. And I think with his leadership, Team Singapore is poised to do very well.
100%. And yeah, you need strong leadership when you are in this group, because this group all around is just absolutely stacked. But that is it for the draw.
I think Group B remains very tough. I don't know about you, Sierra, but I would not want to be in that group at all.
Absolutely not. I'm looking through the rest, and there is definitely some groups that are like, ooh, this is going to be a tough group. But
I think Group J is up there for me as well. New Zealand, they've had some great players, and that being like your 4th seed, your quote worst team, even though they are certainly capable of making it out of that group. Having to fight through. Though. Group A is tough as well. I don't know. There's no easy group really, but I think B stands out as the worst. I would put J and A up there as well.
And by worst, you should clarify the hardest.
Yes, sorry. The worst to have to like make it out. Your worst chances to make it out. Yes, the toughest one.
Yeah, especially too. Again, there's not many teams that are making it through the qualifiers into the group stage. So this is definitely the team's got a lot ahead of them.
Of course. Well, it's going to be really fun to see how these matches play out. I believe the action begins this coming week, Sierra, with the first round of qualifying matches. And again, those 8 teams with the auto invitation into the group stage will be eagerly watching to see who joins them.
100%. Yeah, there's 8 teams, again, that are missing from there, and that is because they are teams that did auto-qualify based off the placements last year. So a reminder, that is Argentina, China, Germany, India, Italy, Japan, Taiwan, and the United Kingdom. So it's only going to get more difficult going on forward once you make it out of these qualifiers, than having to go to the next group stage. So this is a good opportunity, though, since there is a couple of teams that are new, or a couple teams that are returning, or of course just kind of roster shuffles throughout, to kind of get a grasp on things before you get thrown into this even more difficult group stage.
Yeah, you got to make it through an entire group in this qualifying stage, and then you're just thrown right back into an even tougher group for that group stage. You've got the auto-qualifying teams and the teams that have proven themselves good enough to make it out of this first group of teams. And so, very difficult journey ahead for all of these teams, but we will have all the action for you here on Victory Road.
Yeah, definitely don't want to miss any of it. I mean, the World Cup itself, it's still decently new, about 3 years of things, but you got to make sure that you're tuned in at all points. Wonderful casters to take you through, and there's going to be a lot of great players. There is a lot, too, that we were talking about this pot 3, pot 4, that we don't necessarily know as well. This is an opportunity through the qualifiers that's going to be taking place over the next 3 weeks to really get acquainted with them.
Of course, 3 weeks of qualifying, followed by another 3 weeks of that group stage into the end of October and early November, followed by the 4 weeks of playoffs. There's a single elimination bracket. The matches go down to 7 versus 7, so there can, of course, no longer be ties, and they will fight until one team is crowned the World Cup champion.
Going to be a lot of VGC coming up, so you definitely want to be making sure that you are staying tuned. Victory Road TV for all of that great World Cup action. Make sure you talk about which group you think is the most difficult. Want to know what everyone's thinking with these groups and the rosters up ahead of them. We had our thoughts, opportunity for yours, but Jake, I think that's it for us.
Yeah, of course, stay tuned. Just a reminder that the channel name here on Twitch has changed. It is Victory Road TV, where you can see all of the World Cup of VGC 2024 action. So yeah, it's been very fun to draw these groups for the qualifying stage with you, and good luck to all of our teams. I'm sure they're going to bring us some fantastic VGC over the next couple months.
Thank you all for watching, and see you real soon.